The key to enjoying a game that you've already played for maybe years is applying the same principles as you would in role playing. This is the first thing I looked into as I was outlining this video. As role playing in your own head, your character is not letting yourself and what you know influence how your character acts. I knew I'd find the key to game longevity here in this because the years of enjoyment I've gotten from certain games have always boiled down to this in some way. That statement sounds confusing to me, and I'm the one who just said it, so I'll break it down here. Role-playing a character strictly for your own benefit, alone or in a single-player game, comes down to a few things. The most accessible way to begin this is to roll a fresh character, one with a theme. Your new character doesn't have to have a whole backstory, but maybe just a flaw, a proclivity, a way of looking at things because of just a basic experience or something this character has had. I can give some good examples in a moment, but one thing to remember that overarches all of this is a term that any writer or role player will be familiar with: suspension of disbelief. To sum this up in a quote from Wikipedia, which is actually a quote from somewhere else, but it says it well. Historically, the concept originates in the Greco-Roman principles of theater, wherein the audience ignores the unreality of fiction to experience catharsis from the actions and experiences of characters. Though you yourself may know all the ins and outs of the game, its mechanics, and the outcome of any situation and conversation option, your character can't know this. It's probably a state of mind you've used many other times in various situations and not noticed it, and it's the key to enjoying a game that you've already played. It helps you enjoy what is built in and what is there like it's the first time, rather than using what you know. Because, well, your character wouldn't know these things, so, think like your character. It is definitely the overarching concept across all of this, and we'll end up coming back to this, I promise. I think this is all done most easily in single-player RPGs, such as Skyrim or Fallout 4, as it's kind of already built into the game, really. Well, okay, great, but how do I apply this to a tactical shooter like Ghost Recon Wildlands? There are no choices, conversation options, and there's really not even a name for your character other than Nomad. Ghost Recon Wildlands has a beautiful open world, and although it's a fictitious representation of Bolivia, it features much of the same landscape and real-life locations and things to discover. Just take my video series, Ghost Recon Wildlands Best Sites and Landmarks, for example. It ran for a lot of episodes, just exploring the interesting places in the game and learning that many of them were put there to find, such as the graves of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, the Death Road, the House of Klaus Barbie, and so many more. I'll have a link to the video series in the description below. Maybe it'll help inspire you to take a closer look at the world or in some places that you haven't been. So, when you create a character in Wildlands, sure, you don't choose where they come from or allocate any ability points to certain attributes or anything like that, but you start fresh in the jungle of Ataqua with a basic mission and an AI team to back you up. So, take a pause here and go to your loadout. If you didn't already pick the basics for your character, of course you can change them all right here. And this, not having to stick with what you originally created, as you do in other games, actually kind of works in our favor here. You don't need to re-roll at all. You can make this decision at any point in your game, really. Take your character wherever you want to start from. Come here and have a look at your character. Going back to suspension of disbelief and the essence of role-playing, have a look at your character. Draw from your imagination and recreate what you're looking for, Luckily, here we can change it all, even all new outfit presets. Maybe your character wants to have different outfits for different climates or for different situations or different moods. We don't have hard stats or skills really to tell us what to do. We just base it off a concept. I mean, we have skills, but this is just the kind of game where you get them all, right? So instead, just go off an idea, an archetype for your character. Maybe develop habits and preferences as you play, or you can apply them now and play this new character in that way. You can obviously do this at any time and start over fresh in your mind with a new concept and a new character, basically. So pick a place in the game that appeals to you. I do like the starting area in Ataqua, but maybe for you it's Inca Camina or Tabacal or La Cruz or Libertad. Pick a new look, a new style, maybe a weapons theme. Like maybe you want to use the signature weapons and outfit of, say, the British SAS, the Israeli IDF, SEAL Team 6, or even Bolivian UTARC. Or wow, there's just countless others. The list goes on and on and on. Inspiration for this could come from my longest running Ghost Recon Wildlands video series, Best Outfits and Customization. I'll have a link to that playlist below. In that series, we have over 100 themes and loadout options, some from the imagination, many based on real-world groups sourced from real life, and largely from your ideas as viewers. The video series has, over the years, been an inspiration to thousands of other players, so maybe get an idea from some of those videos as to where to start with a new way of thinking for this character redesign. One of the loadout and outfit concepts in these videos that we did was based on the team from the movie Triple Frontier even. One was a motif based on the A-Team. If you're watching a movie, reading a story, or even playing a different video game, snag a concept and run with it. We can always reconfigure the gender, look, clothing, and weapons to fit a new idea, and we can always bring our character to a place in the game where we want to restart with this idea and recreate our playthrough from there. Suspension of disbelief. Other games, real role-playing games, have this built in, but because our choices don't affect the world, because our characters are not set one way or the other, we can always decide how and when we choose to see the world of Wildlands through whatever point of view we want. Hopefully some of the videos that I linked here will give you guys some ideas for new places to see or character concepts to try out. Okay, now there's a few other things that we can have a look at. If you have all the skill points and know all the controls and techniques, the game is pretty easy, but we can make the difficulty pretty unforgiving by turning on Tier 1 mode, or even taking all this and actually starting over in Ghost mode. But do you want a challenge? Or are you more keen to just have fun and write your own narrative for whatever you're doing, even playing an arcade? I mean, at its heart, it's a single player game. No one's going to know if you want to play on easy. I like to do freeform missions. I don't usually replay the missions in the game, but in my head imagine a scenario and then play it out. Maybe there's some weapon I want to use, but first I need to acquire it by locating it in a specific base. Or say, in order to improve a certain skill, I need to act out improving that skill by using it in a specific situation. Again, suspension of disbelief. I mean, the enjoyment you get from the game is really all in the imagination anyway, right? And here we have an open world where we can decide where to go. So yeah, make a task for your character, set the parameters, and go about it however the character you made, however you think that they would go about it. I've taken every base in Wildlands many times, but I hardly ever remember which mission is which, because most of the time I play, it's using this style of playing. Just freeform missions, making up what I do as I go, just playing a different game in my head with my own objectives, right? And you can run the same base over and over and just doing it different ways in your head and creating different adventures, recreating your character. And yeah, you just have to have goals and reasons for what you do and explore the world as you go. And so back to difficulty. We can decide to play alone if we want. If you use the AI teammates, you can take the time, of course, and style them to fit your theme, like we did in the Triple Frontier and the A-Team setups. Or they could even be female, and design a theme around that. I usually play with the teammates on, and I just turn the voices off and mostly ignore them. Whatever suits your playstyle, really. That's what the sandbox type games like this are all about. Definitely whatever suits your playstyle, because playing your style and using your imagination in the world they give you in Wildlands is the key to breathing new life into this old game. There are countless ways to play through Ghost Recon Wildlands, and probably still things there that you haven't found, or places you haven't been, or even if you have, maybe ways to go back through it that make it feel different. Pick a biome like the jungle, for instance, and memorize all the routes in and out of, say, Caimanes. Like, this is your place and no one takes your home away. Or something, or you're a mountain climber, injured in a plane crash and stranded in Inca Camina, and you need to get to Villa Verde City to get a flight out of Bolivia, but there are always obstacles in your way. Suspension of disbelief. Give your character obstacles to overcome and goals to achieve, and make a story in your head as you go for your character. And maybe every once in a while, take a moment to take in the scenery. Make some notes in your journal. Even write a story based on your character if you're the type. Some very famous stories and movies that we know today started as fan fiction, and it's because we like to imagine a world that we're given in our own way and write our story within it. Well, Ghost Recon Wildlands gives you a world, and you can use tips from this video and use your character to imagine that world in your own way. Chances are that if you're watching this video, you're already wanting to rediscover the world of Wildlands. And really, that itself right there is the essence of what it takes. Guys, I want to thank you and give a big shout out to my patrons, Ernest and Justin, and leave you with this: some inspiring shots and scenes from Wildlands. And of course, be sure to give me a like and a subscription if you think I've earned it, and let me know what you think in the comments below.